Hi, folks. Welcome back to Witty and Laodicea. I'm your host, A.T. Martinez, and today this is another part in the American God series. And this is, we're going to be talking about pornography and sex and all those things that make America what it is today. I mean, you think about it. In America, we use scantily dressed women to sell everything, from cars to boats to drugs to you name it. We have scantily dressed women come on and tell us how much these are going to improve our lives. We use beautiful women to sell everything. Why? Because Americans love their God, the new gods. And this new god that we love so much is sex and pleasure and nudity. You know, I can remember as a kid going to the movies with my father and seeing a movie, and it had a scene in there where the woman was topless. And I, as a kid, you sit there going, oh, she's got no clothes on. It was so cool. And my father acted like it was irrelevant. And his attitudes towards nudity was that it should be irrelevant. Go back to the Garden of Eden. We are the ones that saw ourselves nude and realized this is not right because we made it relevant. Now in the United States, I mean, there's even a term for it for videos. It's called the most rewind sections. These are those sections of the movies where generally guys hit the rewind button and the pause and they move it forward slowly so they can get a quick view of whatever it is. We have members of the, quote, press who go around and their whole goal is to see if somebody will have their, what's called a nip slip, or if they are not wearing underwear that day. Do we get to see more things? And this seems to be the goal on so many people. The sad part is we don't even need the photographers. Now, people take their photographs, send them to their friends and their loved ones. Well, they send them to their boyfriend, hopefully. And their boyfriends, in a way to make money, sell those pictures. Or they're hacked and they come out. I mean, everywhere you look, people are pushing nudity and sex. It's everywhere. I mean, where, in days gone by, a certain amount of, if any amount of clothing came off, you automatically had a different rating at the movie theater. It used to be R was required for any amount of nudity. Now what gets away as an R, years ago would have been considered triple X. We have raised this idea so strongly in our heads to see what can't be seen that it becomes a source of conversation. People were talking about how much nudity was in Game of Thrones. Before the Game of Thrones, in Spartacus. These shows made headlines with their nudity, which caused more people to watch. We have organizations, Christian organizations, that go out and protest these things, not realizing that by doing so, you're just helping them make more money. You're getting into a wider audience. I'm not saying that protesting is wrong. I'm saying that look at the results are going to be. It would have been a lot better to, instead of protesting this show and trying to get the network to take it off the air, than to get it. It would have been a lot better to turn around and just get people to turn it off. But that's not the way Americans like to think. We like to tell people what to do. And I'll be talking about that in a later episode. But in this one, people drew attention to these movies, these television shows, and instead of getting them canceled, we improved their ratings. All because Americans want their sex. We have the little blue pill that is now so commonly sold and prescribed that even the old people are now continuing to have sex. And as you watch our society and you look at it, you'll realize this society is basically driven by an urge to have sex, to have it anytime and every time, whenever and however they can, with whomever they want, with whatever they want. Standard mores are gone. Public indecency is common. People running around wearing less than nothing doesn't even make people's eyes go up anymore, because it has become so commonplace in this country. So many people live for the nudity. Look at all the porn sites. Look at the fact that some of these porn sites are so huge that they can actually donate to causes and make impacts. Pornhub. I don't remember what they were donating to, but it made the press that this huge porn site was giving money out for this, that, or whatever. You know, it used to be that Playboy magazine and Hustler were the extent of what we worried about. Parents would only worry about, well, am I going to find Playboys in my kids' rooms? Well, most of the time the kids hid them pretty well. Nowadays, if you're worrying about is your son able to get to porn, he don't need Playboy. He's got a computer, and it's everywhere. There's real porns, there's fake porns, there's pictures and videos of everything you can imagine out there. And some things that, I'll be honest, I don't think you can imagine them. Why? That's what it really comes down to. Why are we so fixated on this? Part of it is very simple. As we've turned our eyes as a nation away from God, we have turned it towards our baser instincts. That parts of us that want that instant gratification, that sense of pleasure. And by doing so, we have raised certain things up in their prominence. They say that you can tell how important something is by the number of words in a language that there are for it. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not going to sit down and count the number of words that we have in the English language for female genitalia. More for that than there are for male genitalia. There are literally hundreds of words for these things, and just as many words for the idea of sex. Why? Because apparently this is extremely valued in this country. I remember once upon a time I was a student of a foreign language, Arabic to be exact, and I was told by one of the instructors, who was from Lebanon, that the Arabs are peaceful people with over 1,000 different ways to say sword. Makes you think, are you really peaceful if you have that many ways of saying sword? Now, I'm not here to criticize the Arabs. I'm here to point out they have 1,000 words to talk about sword. We know that in the Eskimo cultures, or I don't know what the politically correct term is for the Native American tribes of the Great North, they have dozens of words for snow. Because snow is so prevalent in their lives. How many words do we have in ours? Not for snow. Snow, we only have a few. But for sex, for parts of people's bodies. And this should open your eyes. We've sought out pleasure without having any basis to it. We've gone to the simple, heartless, sex is an act that doesn't matter. And because it doesn't matter, then it's a commodity. And more people are trying to dive into this commodity, not looking at the facts that come with it. Because it is a fact that if you sleep with someone, there is a connection. And guess what? That connection can be as real and as life-changing as having a baby or catching a disease. But we want our sex. Now, this American God, there's only one way to fight a God like this, and that's turn him off. You can't go out there and demand they be removed from the television, because it ain't going to happen. All you're going to do is increase their ratings. You're not going to be able to, get everybody in society to condemn it, because it ain't going to happen. So again, the only thing you can do is turn it off. Get together and make a movement of turn it off. Click. I mean, one of the things that I loved about the old movies, the old swashbuckler movies with Earl Flynn, is how much the hero would do, all to get a single kiss. I mean, you look at what for example, in Captain Blood, which is a movie with Earl Flynn. It's the story of a doctor who was sentenced to become a slave in the colonies because he dared try to help somebody who was injured, who just happened to be on the wrong side of a revolution. Now, Captain Blood goes through and he becomes a pirate, escapes from his owners, becomes a pirate, and just raises mayhem throughout the Caribbean. All of this because he's hiding and fighting with parts of himself over what he feels toward one young lady and what she feels towards him. And when it's all said and done and this movie finally finishes, you see the young lady giving him that single kiss. Now, this type of story wouldn't play in today's world. In today's time frame, she'd have already slept with him. Excuse me. And done a whole bunch of things just when they said hello. So, what can you do? Like I said, turn it off. Find channels that play things that you like. Find channels that play things that are good. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and close this one a little bit quicker because my throat's drying out real bad. Please hit the like button, just subscribe, share it with your friends, hit the notification bell because you never know when the next episodes are going to come up. And remember, if you can, any type of help would be appreciated. Try to remember we're out here and we're trying to make an impact. And sometimes we need a little help. Now, if you feel that you need a little help and you need, a prayer or a conversation, included in the description of every episode is our email. Get a hold of me. I'd love to hear from you. And if you, like I said, if you need to talk, I'm here. So thank you all. May God bless each and every one of you. Have a wonderful week.